We are joining you now from the Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles, Consul General Ed Badajos. Hello, kamusta po?
Good morning, Jannelle. I'm okay. Thank you very much for having me in your program.
The Los Angeles community is sad in preparation for your impending goodbye to us.
I know.
Sir, how does it feel, a few weeks before you're about to leave?
Well, it's a mixed bag of emotions. One, I'm, of course, sad that I'm leaving this place that I've come to love for the last 3 years. But more than the place, other people, our community members, because the members of the Phil-Am community here in Los Angeles, in Arizona, and in Southern Nevada, they were just so supportive and cooperative of our programs. You have to understand that we have the biggest Filipino diaspora here, not just in the US, but outside the Philippines. So it's a mix of personalities, dealing with the community, and it makes all the more enjoyable that way. At the same time, I feel glad leaving the place because of some projects that I was able to start and finish, which will benefit the community for many years to come.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some of those,
Yeah.
but I guess the first question, a lot of people are asking, why so short? It feels short, 3 years.
Yeah.
Is that the normal term?
Okay, it's not actually short. I mean, if you're looking at it only from how you first saw me here a few years ago up to today, it looks very short. But actually, it's already 6 years for me
you.
out of the country, because we have to add the 3 years that I was in Jeddah before coming here. So the total tour of duty for us in DFA is 6 years, which can be spent in just one country or in 2 countries.
Right.
In my case, it was 2 countries, Saudi Arabia and LA.
And it's not your first time in the U.S. because you also served in New York.
Correct.
Can you tell us what cities you've been in?
So I was in, before New York, I was in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
And from Toronto, I was moved to New York. So I just crossed Niagara Falls.
Yes.
Then went to New York, stayed there for 4 years, up to 2007. And then after New York, I was sent to Thailand, Bangkok, our embassy in Thailand, where I stayed for 7 years. You believe it? Yeah, very long. So those countries, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, and 3 cities in North America. Yeah.
So let's talk about those cities.
Yeah.
What are the differences and similarities in terms of the Filipino communities?
Okay, so this is where you will find the biggest Filipino diaspora. And you have a mix of personalities in the community, and you have a mix of professions also in the community. A lot of medical personnel working in our hospitals here. But there's other professions like CPAs, engineers, architects. In Canada, it's also a growing community. When I was assigned there in 2000, we already had about 150,000 Filipinos just in Ontario alone. And I was in Toronto. And there you will find also a mix of professions from our fellow Filipinos, but mostly in the medical field. In Thailand, it's an entirely different environment because there you will see mostly teachers. Filipino teachers teaching English to the up-and-coming business, civic, and political leaders of that kingdom of Thailand. In Jeddah, it's mostly skilled workers. And of course, also medical personnel, nurses. If you look at all these cities that I've been assigned to, you will see that our Filipino workers are very much in demand. Anywhere in the world, you will find nurses practically in every country that you will visit. That's how desirable our workers are. Yeah.
No matter what skill. No matter what profession. Yeah.
Yeah. The common observation is that foreign employers would like to have Filipino workers in their employ because the Filipino worker is just so hardworking, non-complaining, very professional, and also can speak good English. Yeah.
What about the struggles of immigrants? Is it different migrating to Jeddah? What are the struggles of immigrants there? Migrants migrating to
the US,
LA
for example,
or New York or Toronto?
The challenges in Saudi Arabia are much more difficult because primarily of culture.
Right.
It's an entirely different culture. It's a Muslim country, first and foremost, and there's just so many social restrictions. Unlike if you go to North America, for example, where you have all the freedoms here that you will want to enjoy, right?
Right.
But that is also what's interesting and so admirable about Filipino migrants, because they can adjust anywhere. They're just so adaptable, right? You put him or her in Saudi Arabia in just a few days or weeks, he has already adjusted to the new environment. And that's all the more so in North America. So it's because here you find a lot of Filipinos who are coming here because they have already relatives here who have migrated here years before. So it's easier to adjust in an environment such as what you have here in North America. Yeah.
What about consular services? Are there differences from
Not much of a difference. Well, of course, here in North America, you will be dealing mostly with applications for dual citizenship.
Okay.
Coming from our former Filipinos, because we've opened up the privilege for them to reacquire their Filipino citizenship. In Saudi Arabia, it's mostly other consular services like passport, notarization of documents. So that's also where you see a big difference.
You know, our show, so Jannelle, we curate stories of immigration and representation. And so we interview a gamut of whether Filipinos representing well for us here or Filipinos from the Philippines, mga lumilipat dito sa Amerika. And a lot of those immigrants, when we talk to them, we see a common theme of the things that they struggle with. Homesickness, economics, especially when they're new here, and then culture also. What would be your advice in your experience dealing with different kinds of immigrants from different kinds of different kinds of countries? What would be your advice to our kababayans?
Well, I think the first thing that they need to do is not to keep to themselves. They have to circulate in the community and meet not just any people, but the right people, the right connections, the right networks. So you have to do a lot of networking, because that's how you will get to find out the ways and means to access all available social and other services to new migrants. So that's my advice. You will notice, I have noticed that there are a lot of community events here.
Yes.
In fact, it's all year round. And if there are only, there are 52 weeks in a year, right? And our people here are partying every week. What would you have? 52 parties? No, that's even more. Because you have 2, 3, or even more parties every week.
Per day,
so probably, probably 500 to 1,000 per year. But there's actually a benefit to it. It's not, to me, pure partying, because that is where you'll find networks. If you're an immigrant, try to go to one of these events, because that's where you will find people who can help you adapt to your new environment. And in fact, one of the projects that I would like to pursue before I leave is to create what I would call a business entrepreneurship council, because I know that more and more of our kababayans are coming here not just to work for another company anymore, but also to put up their own business. But the big question is, how do you put up a business in America? Who do you approach? Who do you have to talk to? Where can you get finances? So I think what you need to do is to assemble a group of Filipino entrepreneurs who have been there for so long, who can give advice, the right advice, to any Filipino who would like to start a business here. So you will not fall into loopholes and lose your money. Right? So this is one area that I'd like to develop actually among our Filipino immigrants here. You will notice that we Filipinos, mostly when they go out of our country, they go out to work for others, isn't it? Because we don't have really the entrepreneurial spirit in our genes, unlike the Chinese or the Indians or the Malays. Talagang negosyo ang nadugo nila. But the Filipino just so happens to be not like them.
Right.
We're just so primarily contented, initially at least, to work for another company, for a hospital, for another. Not so much to put up our own business, but that to me is changing. And we need to do something to provide the necessary assistance to those who are having this entrepreneurial spirit. We need to develop that.
I love that observation. I always say that on the show too. It's time for us Filipinos to invest in ourselves.
Correct.
Invest in ourselves, invest in our ideas.
Correct.
That's why I also started this program. I always say to people, sink or sail. This ship is mine, right? No,
true.
you know, because then, kumbaga, you're betting on yourself,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And that's one project that I laud the consulate for observing and for putting together. What other projects have you had that you're proud of?
Okay, so maybe the best legacy that I could say I will be leaving behind would be the establishment of our Philippine Honorary Consulate in Las Vegas. Okay, so since 1947, when we had the Philippine Consulate here in Los Angeles, this consulate covers 3 areas. At least until before Houston was taken away from us in New Mexico. They now have their own consulate there. But now we cover Southern California, Arizona, and Southern Nevada. So people in Arizona and Southern Nevada would have to travel all the way to Los Angeles here just to have a simple document notarized or consularized by the consulate. It's very expensive and tedious. Sometimes they have to spend overnight, so rent a room here so that they can get their document the following day. That stopped last year, October, because we were able to open a Philippine Honorary Consulate in Las Vegas. So today, Filipinos in Vegas can now just go to the office of our Honorary Consulate in Vegas to have their documents notarized. They don't have to drive anymore here, except for passports, because we still issue passports here. Yeah, and except for reports of civil registry document like birth certificate, marriage certificate, we still have to do everything here. But all others like special authorization, travel document, they cannot just get from Las Vegas. And before the end of the year, we hope to also be able to appoint an honorary consul for Phoenix, Arizona, because it's been approved already by the U.S. government. See, when you open an honorary consulate, it's not just so easy as saying that I will open one here, so tomorrow there's one already. You need to have to go through a very difficult process. We have to make sure that the one who gets appointed is somebody who is dependable, credible, with a clean record, and who's really going to serve the Philippines. And so we did it for Vegas.
Right, congratulations.
Everything we aim to achieve here would not have been possible to achieve without the support of the community. So we owe a lot to them and to you, including, because you're like the fuel that made us really work and be able to achieve all the things that we set out to do for the Filipino American community. That's what I remember the most. Because if you go to a new environment, you find yourself not being supported by your constituents. It's very difficult to do. It's tough, right?
What other projects do you want to maybe pass on or ipamana din sa susunod po sa inyo?
So I think last year you witnessed the big celebration of Independence Day that we had at the historic Filipino town. And that was the first time that actually our National Day celebration was spearheaded by the Philippine Consulate, because before that, we have already pockets of celebrations all over Southern California, right? Like we have one in Carson, we have one in historic Filipino town, and all other places.
West Covina also.
So not that we want to take over what they're doing, because what they're doing is right and highly commendable, but we would like to have one big celebration that really gathers Filipinos from all over our jurisdiction, from Southern California, Arizona, and Las Vegas, to come here and celebrate, which we were able to do. It was a massive celebration. It was attended by, I think, no less than 1,000 people.
Wow, okay.
A festival and a parade. They had to cut the parade actually into 2 because there were just so many participating cars, the vintage cars from the auto enthusiast group of Filipinos. And so it was so successful. And this year, I would like for my successor to continue the tradition. And the other project is we have actually opened a passport renewal center. It's an off-site facility, meaning outside the consulate here. It is located on somewhere in Beverly Hills and Wilshire Boulevard. It is run and managed by a private company. So if people who are having issues with getting an appointment here
Right.
cannot come here, they can go to that facility
Got it.
to apply for a passport renewal.
Okay.
We would like that facility to be utilized more because presently it's being underutilized. I think it's lack of awareness that it exists
I
already.
think, yes.
You can go there, there's no need for an appointment because if you come here, you need an appointment.
Got it.
Right.
Aside from that, marami rin nagko-complain po, yung phone daw, wala daw
Wala
sumasagot ng
sumasagot.
phone.
Yeah. Well, we have hotlines. We have that we have published actually. One for ATN, meaning assistance to nationals. This is for Filipinos with problems with the law or with whatever that they can call anytime, 24/7. We have a number for consular services. If for some reason people call and nobody answers, it can only be because the line is being used because there are just so many callers on any given day. Now you have to understand, regards to visa, that we have nothing to do with the issuance of a U.S. visa.
Right.
That's for the U.S. government to decide, not for us.
Okay. Yan, sinasagot na po yung mga tanong nyo, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I think this one good thing that my successor should also continue to make the community, whoever they are, whatever their station in life is, whatever age they belong to, whatever gender, to make them so welcome by the consulate. So that they will always see the consulate as a home away from home, a place they can always visit, and that the people there can always be approached for any issue or problem they may have.
Farewell message to your constituents.
So, for simple, it's just to thank them and you for the support that you have given me for the last 3 years that I was here at the consulate. As I said, and will always say, whatever success we were able to achieve here would not have been possible without the support of our constituents, the Filipino-American community. We work together in so many things, always with the welfare and protection of our community always at the top of our head, always wishing that we will see everybody succeed here. Of course, that's not possible. There's always going to be someone who will fall down the tracks. But at least we did our best. And I think that we were able to achieve practically almost everything that we set out to do for the Filipino community here. So let's continue working together. Whoever is going to be my successor, I hope that you will extend him or her the same level, if not a higher level of cooperation that you extended to me. Maraming salamat, Jannelle.
Ayan. Maraming salamat din po,
Yeah.
Conjen Badajos. And God bless you as you continue
you.
your journey in
Yeah.
your next chapter.
I wish you success in your program. I always watch you, like on weekends. Jannelle, so Jannelle.
Yes.
So, watch the program because you're going to learn a lot from it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.